Hi guys! So there's a few things I wanted to talk to you about today. Bear with me, this is my first video, but I was just really sick of typing. So the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the word pretentious. I've seen that thrown around a lot in the last couple days. Really, especially on the vegan tag, it's really frustrating. The word is really overused by people who really don't know what it means. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today and how being pretentious relates to veganism in some people's minds. So, for your information, I did actually pull up the definition of the word pretentious. It's an adjective that means attempting to impress by affecting greater importance, talent, culture, etc., than is actually possessed. A synonym for pretentious would be showy. So a lot of people use this, especially in respect to people who argue that veganism is something that is cheap and attainable and sustainable for pretty much anybody, no matter their socioeconomic status. It basically is used when people argue that there's no reason why somebody can't go vegan. A lot of people will say that we're pretentious for assuming that people on lower fixed incomes could afford to be vegan and still get nutrition, especially relating to people who are who have large families or who have children in their family, young children. Because a lot of people mistakenly believe that children cannot be healthy and thrive on a vegan diet, which is not true. The American Pediatric Society and the American Dietetic Association both agree that a vegan or vegetarian diet is very healthy for a child, especially with all of the hormones and additives and sweeteners that are added to milk and eggs and just the horrible conditions these animals are kept in that is not only cruel and abusive, but also makes these products very unhealthy for children. Veganism is really the healthiest way you can raise your child. That's my personal belief. There's a lot of people who would disagree with me. But anyways, getting back to the word pretentious, and I actually had somebody reference this word to me this week on a post where I had horribly suggested that if you are a vegan, that you shouldn't be cheating. There is no cheating on a vegan diet because being a vegan is not just a diet. And the person who posted anonymously to me suggested that it was pretentious of me to suggest that somebody who held a vegan diet was doing it for any other reason besides an ethical reason. And I didn't agree with this because the whole basis of veganism is for ethical reasons. It's about the animals. It's about the fact that these are sentient beings that are being cruelly confined, raped, tortured, abused. Some of the footage that I've watched, not only from documentaries such as Earthlings, but also raw video that I've seen online, really documents the horrific level of abuse that goes on within these facilities. And that's just the way factory farming is. And some people will argue that local farmers and small farmers treat their animals better, but at the end of the day, these animals are still dying. They're being slaughtered, and you can have Farmer Joe in your backyard who is raising their cows and patting them on the head and letting them eat grass their entire life. But at the end of the day, these animals are being packed into a truck, shipped off to a USDA facility to be slaughtered, where they are not given food or water and are crammed into a trailer. They're petrified, and they can see and smell the other animals that are with them being murdered before they are next in line. And it's not necessary. So to suggest that this is pretentious for wanting to reduce cruelty to animals is really just honestly the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because to be a pretentious person would be to say that you are the most important thing in this web of whatever, that you are what matters most. And what I had argued was that it's actually pretentious to paint yourself with the label of being vegan and have yourself be the most important part. If you are vegan for the reason of just your health, then you're saying that if your health wasn't at stake, that you would still consume animal products because the animals don't matter. If you are vegan for environmental reasons, you're saying that you would consume animal products if it wasn't for for the damage to the environment that it caused. And they also brought up something about allergies, and I said I hope that somebody who was having to follow a vegan diet or plant-based diet, excuse me, somebody who is not vegan, somebody who is eating a plant-based diet and is not doing it for ethical reasons for an animal, is on a plant-based diet. That's what it is. If you are doing a 30-day cleanse, you're not a vegan. If you are trying to lower your blood pressure, you are not a vegan. If you are in this movement because you want to help the animals and because you believe that it is cruel and inhumane and unnecessary to consume animal products, then congratulations, you are a vegan. If you are transitioning, that is fine to say. You can say, I'm on a plant-based diet, transitioning to being a vegan. When I first started, way back in January, I first started calling myself a pescatarian. I was still eating fish. And the more that I read and the more research that I did, the more I realized that it really was still a really cruel industry to be consuming fish and to be consuming other animal products. So I started phasing these things out bit by bit. I did not call myself a vegan while I was transitioning. I said I was on a plant-based diet. When I was still consuming fish, I called myself a pescatarian. When I stopped consuming fish but was still consuming eggs and dairy, I called myself a vegetarian. And when I was still making that transition from being a vegetarian to a vegan, I called myself a vegetarian. It wasn't till about mid-March that I cut all animal products out of my diet and started referring to myself as a vegan, started shopping for beauty care and health care products as well that did not contain animal products or animal product derivatives. So when you're doing something, recognizing that another being is on the same level as you, that you do not hold a higher value, and that your wants don't hold a higher value than something else's life, that's not pretentious. It is pretentious to assume that you can go through with having a plant-based diet, call yourself vegan, and completely ignore the animals that are still being horrifically treated. I don't know how else to explain it. You can't be vegan and not care about the animals. If you don't care about the animals and you just care about yourself, then that's pretentious. I really don't know how to explain it otherwise. But that was my feeling on it, and I really think that people should stop throwing around the word pretentious in reference to vegans, because it's really kind of insulting when we strive so hard to focus on reducing cruelty to other beings, and we're told that we only care about ourselves, which is a load of bull. And in regards to the financial aspect of being a vegan, it really is just about shopping right. I eat mostly raw, and I am able to afford to feed myself quite well, I'm not wasting away, on probably about $60 a week. And sometimes that'll be if I buy something a little extra, and I'll be doing another video about my shopping haul that I did today at Stop and Shop, which is notorious for having ridiculous prices, but I've learned to kind of figure out how to make veganism a little more affordable for me. I am a recently graduated education major, paying back student loans. Just had major car repairs. I do have a dog. So I have expenses. I live on my own. I pay rent. I pay my bills. I'm not behind on anything, but my finances are tight, and I still manage to do it. So there you go. It is possible. Well, thank you if you listened to my whole nearly 10-minute rant about people calling vegans pretentious, and stay tuned for my next video on how to reduce cost being a vegan and shopping at Stop and Shop. Thanks, guys. Bye.